Tracy Farquhar coming to you live on Facebook. It's April 26th and there's a full supermoon. Supermoon is the pink moon for April today. It's in Scorpio and it's a pretty powerful full moon. You may be feeling the energy. I've been feeling it the past few days. Full moon tends to bring up emotions, bring up things that we need to face and deal with. So I thought it'd be a good day to pull some cards just for a general reading, tuning into the energy for all of us as a collective and see what we get, and then have a little discussion about that for today. Considering doing these live events on a weekly basis on Mondays, so we'll see how this goes, and if there's enough interest in that, I will do that. So I'm going to pull some cards from my deck here and see what we get. The intention, as I said, is to get some guidance for us as a collective for the week ahead based on the energy of the full moon and any of the other cosmic energies that are going on right now. We have a lot of stuff going on energetically. There's a lot of shifts in the energy these days. So the full moon will be emphasizing that and kind of exaggerating that. So if you have already been feeling a little sensitive these days, you will definitely feel this energy of the full moon, and probably have already felt that. So let's see what we've got here. Okay, so I've got 4 cards. So when I do tarot reading, I pull 4 cards. The first 3 represent past, present, and future. The 4th card is what I call an action card, which sums up the meaning of the first 3 and gives you a sense of action to take going forward. So I'll go through each card. Remember that this is a general reading for everyone, so you get to apply it to your personal situation any way you like. Today I won't be pulling individual card readings, but that may be something that I do in the future on one of these Monday live events if I continue to do them. Okay, so very interesting first card, and believe it or not, I pulled these cards out of a deck of 78. Nothing up my sleeve. There we go. Here's the first card. Yes, it's the moon. So the universe is definitely giving us the message here. So the moon really does represent the energy of emotion, feelings. The moon, as I said, as a full moon, tends to, just as it pulls the tides up, it pulls up our emotions. Emotions are associated with water. So our emotions flow, ebb and flow, just like water. And the moon tends to bring them to the surface. So with this card coming up in the past, what that is saying to me is that this particular full moon may be bringing up things from your past, probably recent past, probably the last year or so. Not that there was anything emotional about the last year or so. But it's giving you the opportunity to really face and deal with any emotions that are still hanging around from all of the turmoil and chaos of the last year, and that we're still going through in a lot of ways. So not only does it indicate that that's happening, it's also encouraging us to find healthy ways to release and express those emotions. To me, the only really damaging emotions are the ones that we don't express. So emotional energy is very big energy. And if it's not expressed in a healthy way, it doesn't go far. It hangs around in our energy field, and it can settle into our energy, and it can settle into the body and put us into a state of dis-ease. So we want to always acknowledge and find ways to express our emotions, whether that is in talking to a friend, keeping a journal and writing them down, talking to a therapist, doing something creative, which is an expression of emotion, doing something physical, which helps us work through some emotions such as anger, frustration, that need a physical outlet. So the moon card here coming up in the past is saying, okay, it's a good time to take advantage of this energy. Sometimes, we think that the emotions that we feel are negative. And we don't want to feel negative emotions, but they're part of life. They're part of being human. They're only negative if we hold them in. So there are no negative emotions. Even anger has its place. Even grief has its place. There are things that we can take from those emotional times in our lives and use for our future path. Anger can inspire action. Grief can inspire compassion. So there's a lot that can be said for allowing ourselves to feel the emotions that we're feeling, allowing ourselves to express them in a healthy way, stop apologizing for crying, stop thinking that emotional expression is wrong and bad. Of course, again, I'm emphasizing in a healthy way, especially with anger. We don't want to punch somebody, but we do want to acknowledge that we're angry. We need to allow ourselves to be angry. We need to sit with that anger and say, okay, what is this about? Let me sit with this. I'm going to allow myself to be angry for an hour, or for today. And what is that anger inspiring in me? What is it motivating me to do? Am I being motivated to take some action, to speak my mind, to, face an issue and bring it up to the surface? So again, really, really amazing that this card came up on the day of a full moon, but not surprising because that's the way it always works. All right, so the second card here in the present position is the Eight of Pentacles, which looks like this in my deck. My deck is the Barbara Walker deck. It's getting pretty old now and worn, but it's the deck I always use, so I'm comfortable with it. The Eight of Pentacles coming up here. Pentacles often represents money, but it can also represent just our material lives in general, things that are happening to us in our human existence on the earth with, our material things. So the word on this card in my deck is learning. So as this is all one reading, each card kind of plays off the last one. So, we talked about the moon, bringing up emotions, dealing with the past, and this card as a learning card is also asking us to consider what it is that we are learning about ourselves through all of the ups and downs that we've been through, especially in the last year. All of the challenging experiences that we have offer us something. And that's just another way of saying everything happens for a reason, which I don't really like that saying because it kind of trivializes suffering that we have and trauma that we have, and I never want to trivialize that. But I do want to emphasize that everything offers us something. And through the suffering and through the emotional pain that we can have, we can also, at some point down the road, we can start to say, okay, what has that shown me? What do I want to do with that? What choice do I want to make here about what to make of that experience and what to do with those emotions? Again, what are those emotions inspiring in me? Do I need to make change? Is it time for me to start looking at my life differently? And I have to say that this past year has caused an awful lot of people to do that. I know, because a lot of them are coming to me for readings. So this kind of forced isolation has also kind of put us into a place of introspection, a higher degree of self-awareness if we allowed that to happen. So the people who have allowed that to happen, who have taken advantage of that time to really look at their life from a different perspective, to really sit with it because, maybe there are a little fewer distractions in their lives. Not everybody was like that, but many of us were. And even just the idea that, our world was shaken up to the degree that, a lot of us are recognizing that life is short and unpredictable, and we don't know how long we're going to be here. And as upsetting as that can be, it can also be highly motivating to say, well, I better start making something good out of whatever time I have left here. And that can really inspire change, because usually the only thing that inspires change in us humans is when something is wrong or something is bad or something is, has really forced us into that change. We don't like change normally as a collective. So to me, these two cards together, the Moon and the Eight of Pentacles, are saying, look back on, all the things that are coming up at this time. If you're finding a lot of emotions coming up, if you're finding yourself triggered, that's often a sign the universe is giving us that, we have stored emotions, we have stored trauma. If something else kind of brings that to the surface and we find ourselves reacting to something way out of bounds with what it actually is, that means, oh, this is connected to something else. So let me look at that something else and say, how can I work with this better? How can I use this to my advantage? How can I use this to help me move on to the next level of my life? And that's how we learn from the traumas and the chaos and the challenges that we experience, if we choose to look at them that way. It's not usually possible to look at them that way while you're in the midst of it. When you're in the middle of 2020, you're not going to be able to look at it and say, oh, I'm learning a lot here. You're just trying to keep your head above water, right? But again, we're not out of the woods yet. We know that, but things are starting to look like there's a chance that they'll be getting better and continuing to get better as time goes on. So we can breathe a little bit more and start to get a different perspective on it, lift ourselves up into that observer's perch and say, what have I learned? What is this showing me? What opportunities are being offered to me in this time of challenge? And what do I want to do with those? If you have experienced loss and grief, what's the best way to deal with that and move through it? And again, even grief can motivate us, because if we experience the loss of a loved one, it can allow us to now want to honor them by living the best life we can. It doesn't negate the sadness, but it honors them with the sense of, okay, I'm going to start getting my life together so that I'm happier, that I'm experiencing more joy, that I feel more fulfilled. Because, if that person can go, I could go anytime too. We shouldn't have to be motivated that way, but we are, and it's okay. So, really strong message in these first two cards. And the third one is the future card, and it's the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands. Word on that card is power. And so you can see this big, scary looking dragon and this woman in front of him who is not backing down. She doesn't look too scared. She's facing him and she's saying, I see you and you're big and scary, but I'm facing you and I'm not going to run away from you. This card has come up upside down, reversed, and it's in the future. So an ace is always a number one, which means a new beginning. And wands is the suit of manifestation and creation. So pretty clear message here is it's saying you got the power to create your future. The future is in your hands. And you can allow fear to stop you, or you can recognize how incredibly resilient and strong you are and how you have proven that through all of these challenges. You're still here. You're still looking toward the future. You wouldn't be tuned into a psychic reading if you weren't. So you haven't given up. So this is saying, look at that strength. It's been proven, and you can count on it to help you get through whatever comes next. Don't let yourself be stymied, waylaid by fear. Because if we can get through all that stuff, we can certainly get through whatever is to come. So that's how we can be motivated by challenge, one of the ways. And we can start to say, yeah, I feel a little nervous. I feel kind of scared. I don't know what's around the corner. I don't have a real clear picture of that. Do we ever really? Sometimes we think we do, but it usually turns out we don't. That was shown very clearly to us in 2020 and continues to be shown to us. We can't always have a clear sense of what's going to happen next, even when we think we do. So when we get through those times, we can say, whoa, look at me. I'm still here. I'm resilient. I'm strong. Look how strong I am. To me, these events don't make us stronger. They allow us to witness our strength, allow us to witness our resilience, and allow us to see that whatever happens, we're going to be okay. Not only just okay, because we're not just okay here. We're thriving. We're looking toward the future. We're starting to think about what we really want. And that shows and proves that, you're a resilient and determined individual. And that you don't let that dragon stop you. So, wow, really powerful message for all of us, I think. Universal message. All of us that have been through this, and that's everybody. In your own individual ways, of course, nobody has had the exact same situation, the exact same response to the situation. So, as a collective, there is a collective energy. And this is saying this is what's being offered to the collective, no matter how this past year has affected you personally as an individual. We all have the same opportunity within that. And yes, there'll be some people who are affected less by it, some people who are affected very greatly by it, but there's still this universality in the opportunity. So the action card is the card that kind of sums everything I just talked about, sums it all up, and says this is the action that you can take going forward. And guess what? It's another ace. Woohoo! So once again, an ace, which is the number 1, which is a new beginning. Ace of Pentacles, again, the Pentacles being representative of money, our material lives, our earthly lives. And look at the word on that card is reward. So again, pretty strong message from the universe. And those of you who are sensitive to energy, and I probably would say all of you are in some degree, you've probably all been feeling this shift in the energy. It's kind of started in January as we started this new year. It's accelerating a little bit. We're still dealing with the issues, but there is this sense of moving forward. People are starting to come out of this fog and starting to make plans, starting to reconnect with their loved ones. The situation that we are able to get vaccines, that we are able to move about a little bit more freely, that the numbers are starting to go down. But we still need to take precautions. And then also, there's other things that have been going on that are allowing us to experience some sense of forward moving energy. What I want to remind you in that is that energy is always moving forward, that time has always been moving at the same pace, that our opportunities are always there for change. It's just that we were kind of out of alignment with that for a while because we were in survival mode, right? So when you're in survival mode, it's hard to look beyond where you are. But to me, these two aces are saying now it's time to start looking beyond where you are and starting to see this time as a new beginning for you. Ace of Pentacles and the sense of reward, it can have something to do with your material life, your work, your job, the way that you make money. There may be some things that you are reconsidering about that. It can also be a general statement about the economy in general, because businesses are reopening, that commerce is starting to flow a little bit more freely, differently. And so, this sense also of reward. Uh, Again, we want to congratulate ourselves for having, first of all, just getting through all of that, but also, see the opportunities that are being presented to us as a sort of reward. Um, we have to reward ourselves. We can't wait for other people to reward us. Nobody's going to say, hey, good job. You got to pat yourself on the back. You got to say, okay, where do I now find the joy in my life? Where do I find the fulfillment, either in my work or something else, in my relationships? How can I start to build that back up in my life and say I deserve it and I'm worthy of it? And I'm really determined that this next year is going to bring more of that into my life. It's up to you. Again, that Ace of Wands is the one that says you're the one who's in control. Really embrace that knowledge and feel that about yourself. And this one is saying, you see the naked woman? So that nakedness to me always feels like a sense of authenticity. So it's saying, okay, you got to really be true to yourself here. Really set an intention that you're going to be completely authentic, true to yourself. You're not going to try to meet other people's expectations or even your own made up expectations. You're going to go forward with a sense of authenticity and vulnerability. Okay, again, that brings up the fear, but we don't have to be afraid of that. We've proven that we're strong enough to be vulnerable, right? The big snake on the card, the snake represents a shedding of the past, shedding of the old. So when a snake is growing, it has to shed its skins in order for it to grow. So it's another sign for us that it's time to start letting go of the things that have been holding us back. If we want to grow and expand and continue to learn and continue to experience new opportunities, we need to let go of the things that are anchoring us in the past. That can be old ways of thinking, old expectations. It can even be material things, cleaning out the closets. Are you feeling inspired to do that? There's a metaphor in that. There's a metaphor in everything. So if you're inspired to clean out the closets, it's also the universe saying, and your higher self saying, it's time to clean out these closets, clean out the cobwebs, clean out and release the stuff that's holding you back. And again, it just from the multiple readings that I've been doing lately, a lot of people are also cleaning out their lives in ways that they're shifting relationships, they're shifting jobs, they're thinking about moving, they're thinking about starting new businesses. Just about everybody I've been talking to lately is in that kind of crossroads. And it's a wonderful thing. The uncertainty is uncomfortable, but it's a wonderful thing to be at that place where you're really saying, I want something better and I deserve it and I'm worthy of it and I'm going to create it. So this card is saying all of that. And it's exactly what I've been feeling with the energy these days. It's been proven to me over and over again with the readings I've been doing, and even in my own life. This sense that something's revving up here. I'm not sure exactly what it is yet, and this is the challenge here. Be willing to sit in that place that says, I don't know what it is yet. Be willing to not know. That's very difficult for us. But if we can really kind of surrender to that not knowing, and just know that the knowing is going to come. It's going to be shown to us. We're going to get a sense of that. But sit with the not knowing and realize that within that not knowing is infinite potential. And that's exciting because it could be something really fantastic in your life. It could be something really rewarding. It could be something that leads you to the best part of your life within that potential. So if you're not sure where you're going, but you're getting that sense that something's coming, get excited about it, even when you don't know what it is. And then start to set some intentions around, not necessarily a very detailed vision. It's okay to have that, but just understand that that detailed vision is limiting. If you set your sights on one thing, you may be missing something that's over here in your peripheral vision. So set your sights on how you want to feel, what you want to experience, how you want to grow, what learning you want to experience. And that leaves room for the ways that those things can come in. And then as you travel the path, it will start to zoom in on whatever that thing is that feels like it's in your highest good. And so that's where we want to be right now, in a place of potential and in alignment with that sense of change coming, in a place that starts to see that light that's kind of beckoning us forward, starts to really open our eyes to the beauty in the world. You know, it's always been there. We've again just been trying to stay afloat, but now maybe we can come back to recognizing it. Maybe now we can start to participate in that energy by being the best people we can be, by being more compassionate, by amping up our kindness, being extra generous in the way that we share our hearts and our vision. You know, really being very conscious of the energy that we're putting out into the world, wherever we go, whether it's actually out in the world, online, which is still out in the world, really thinking about what is the best energy that I can bring to this situation. It's not always an easy thing to do, especially right now when things are still uncertain. Emotions are high from the full moon. Emotions were high even before the full moon. But that means it's even more important to take that pause, take a breath and say, okay, what's the best response to this situation right now? And be very aware that you are contributing energy to your situation as an individual, but also to the collective. I have a sign that says, please be aware of the energy you bring to this space. And I think that's something to remember all the time in our lives. We are bringing energy to every situation, every place we go. It goes with us. So start setting an intention to bring the highest energy. Not only will it lift you up, but it has the influence to lift other people up as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed that reading. It's really exciting to me to see these cards. I can see now why I was inspired to do this today. I think it's something we all needed to hear, including myself. Enjoy the full moon. Put your crystals and your cards out. You don't have to put them outside, but you can. It's the full moon energy, can penetrate the walls and the ceiling of your house. But if doing a little ritual of putting them outside is a nice thing. Put yourself outside under the moonlight if you can. Enjoy it. Enjoy the beauty of it. Enjoy the beauty of nature. Bring yourself back into yourself. Allow yourself to settle into yourself at some point today. You just spend a few minutes in quiet contemplation. Be aware of your breathing and settle into your body and bring that earth energy up into yourself. Start setting some rituals around feeling grounded and centered so that you can then start to move forward with the highest intentions. Thank you so much for joining me. I will probably be back next Monday at this time. I'll post that on Facebook, and if you can join me, please do. Take care. Have a great week. Bye.